Hi, hello, sir. Is my sound is audible?
Yes, sir.
So have you done with the Docker, all of them?
Actually, I tried to do that one. When I try to do the Minikube download, actually, I'm seeing a message, sir. Let me share with you. That is Minikube installer.exe isn't commonly downloaded. Make
Yeah,
sure you.
you have to give the extra permission. No? There it will be some option will be coming like forcefully down install or something.
So, okay, how should I recover this one?
You are getting the option, right? That during the installation part only, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, in the downside of that dialog box, you will see somewhere some options will be there. So you can forcefully install that.
Actually, I don't see any options. Actually, just this is the message coming up. I will let me share. Can I share
Okay.
my screen
Yeah, yes,
quickly?
yes, yes. Okay.
Where should I? Where should- Can you see my screen?
Okay. Now to
Okay,
try
okay.
to install, no? No.
Yeah, just 1 second. Let me. I want to share another one. Sorry.
For others, it is done, that many give installation, or all of you are facing the same issue.
Okay. So when I try to do this one, right? So Windows.
That will be already in download, right? Somewhere in your download folder.
Um, and this is the message coming up in the downloads.
Okay, so
And
just run it once again. That many
okay,
give.
okay, let me do it just in front of you. Okay,
Latest release.
see, I'm seeing this alert here. See at the downloads.
Okay, just click on latest release now.
Click on what, sir? Sorry.
Latest release, latest release.
Okay.
Hmm.
See?
So that's your browser issue now. Just click on this three dot, right side.
Okay.
Report this file as safe. Report this file as safe. Third option.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay.
Uh, just make it like this is a safe website. Upside there is an option there now.
Which option, sir?
Upside of this page, scroll up.
Okay.
Yeah, here it is. It is now. I think this is a safe website.
Okay. So I
Just
have
click
to
that term. Yeah.
three.
Make it capital. These all are
Okay.
capital.
Okay. ELX.
So this is the problem of your website and browser. Okay. You
Okay.
can work. See, just click on this Minikube start menu. Again, go to that previous tab.
Uh-huh. And latest release.
Yeah, I'm not seeing your data screen. It is free that. Thank you for submitting your feedback online.
So you're able to see it.
No, no.
Still,
You
I'm
can stop
seeing.
sharing and making it started.
Okay, shop and I'll do it again. So, can you see it, sir?
Yeah, it's still in the mode of the started screen sharing only. Your internet is slow little bit on your.
Can you see it?
Okay.
Okay.
So do latest release, do the right click. On the latest release, do the right click.
Uh-huh.
Now copy this link. Go to your Chrome browser.
Chrome. Okay.
Don't use Firefox is. Yeah, go with Chrome. Just paste that link in another tab. Press enter. They're downloading, right? See, it's got downloaded.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay,
problem
okay.
with that browser.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Always prefer to use this one, Chrome or Brave, like open source related one, right?
Okay.
Sometimes Microsoft Edge browser due to this, so
Okay.
they block. That's the reason. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you. I will stop
And
sharing my screen now.
yeah, okay. So in the last class we discussed about the installation part, everything. Okay, how to cover that Minikube installation, everything. And I said you whenever you want to start with the Minikube, make sure first you have to start the Docker. Once the Docker will be running, okay, so you don't have to start the Minikube container from here or something. Just make sure this Docker is running, and then simply you have to open the command prompt. And here you will be writing the command called minikube start, and it will start the minikube. So these are all the things we discussed. And before that, if I'll show you the status of minikube currently, so currently it will say that minikube is in the stop state. If I'll make it start, then they will take time around 1 minute time. Okay, and they will make sure that minikube will be started. Okay, so let this minikube start. And once the minikube will start, then today will be start with the practical. Okay. So in the last class we discussed about a status, a stop, a start command. Then I given you the idea about minikube dashboard. Okay, how it looks like. So and even I said you how to configure the kubectl. Okay, by adding the environment variable everything. So you will be able. So kubectl is a command basically. Okay, which help you to communicate with the Kubernetes cluster. Like Docker was the command to communicate with your Docker containers, right? Whatever the things you want to do in the Docker, you are writing the command with the that is starting with the Docker. Similarly, in the Kubernetes, whatever the commands you are going to write, that is going to be start with the kubectl. Okay. Second thing, in the Docker, everything you are doing at a container level. Okay, like whatever application I am running, whatever the things I am doing, we are always starting a container. Okay, and that container was getting started from the image. Okay, in the Kubernetes case, Kubernetes does not understand anything about container. Okay, Kubernetes does not know what is container. So now the thing is, if Kubernetes does not know the container, then how Kubernetes is going to manage it, right? I said that Kubernetes is a tool which will help you to manage the Docker containers. Okay. So if Kubernetes does not know anything about the container, okay, then how they are going to manage it? So Kubernetes comes with the concept of pods. So pods is just like a covering layer. Okay. What is the covering layer here we are talking about? So just think like this, whenever you are ordering a mobile phone, right, on some shopping website, either on Amazon or either on Flipkart, something like that, right? So they don't deliver that particular mobile phones or that particular product, right, directly on the wrapper of the company's box itself, right? Because see, whenever you are ordering any mobile phone of any company, they also comes in inside a box only, right? But whenever Amazon will send you that particular mobile phone to your location, right? So they don't give the directly that company's box. Like if you are ordering the iPhone, they will not give you in the Apple box or something, right? They will wrap it inside another box, right? That another box will be from Amazon, and inside that your mobile phone box will be put there. Okay, on top of that box, Amazon box, they are going to print all the address related details, pin code, all the information, right? Contact information that that particular product will be delivered. Okay, so what is the reason for doing that? So there are so many reasons, right? If they are picking it inside a box of the Amazon, that means people who are delivering, right? And wherever it is going to travel from one location to another location, by easily seeing that particular box, people will say that okay, this is the Amazon product, like that, right? Second thing, all the contact information, everything you can just keep it on your Amazon box without basically damaging your mobile phone box, right? That is the second thing. Even extra layer of security type of the things happen, because now previously only one box was there. Now there are two box, so you can protect your mobile phones also for any issues while we're basically sending it from one place to another place. So these all things we do, right? So exactly same thing. Pod is just like a outer covering, okay? And whatever the container you are talking about, that Docker container, everything is going to run inside this, okay? So pod is just the building blocks of the Kubernetes, okay? But inside this pod, internally container is only going to run, okay? Now the question is, inside a single pod, how many containers we can run? We can run multiple containers, okay? You can run 2 containers, 3 containers, 4 containers inside the same pod, okay? But usually in the real world scenario, we prefer to run only one container inside a single pod, okay? We always prefer to run only one container inside a pod. In some situation we go with 2 or 3 containers also, but in most of the cases, you will be seeing either 2 container or one container. One container will be most of the 90 to 95% cases, and 4 to 5% cases will be of the 2 containers, something like that, and very less for 3 or 4 containers. Okay, why we are running multiple containers? So multiple containers, because see, sometimes what happens now, one container is dependent on another container or something. In that case, we try to prefer it to keep inside a pod only. Okay. Second thing, if we want that container is independent on another container or something, then we allocate only one container inside a pod. That means only one box inside a pod. Okay. Second thing, whatever the container you are keeping, right? In the Docker I shown you, whenever you are running a container, a IP address is get associated to the container, right? Like if you remember, whenever we are running the different container from the same image web server cloud 27, we are seeing different IP address, right? But in case of the Kubernetes, if you are thinking that I'm going to run 5 container in a single pod and all the container will get a different IP address, it is not going to be possible. Why? Because Kubernetes allocate the IP address at the pod level, not at the container level. So either you are running one container, 2 container, 3 container, all are going to run with the same IP address. So you'll be not seeing any changes there as per our website, whatever we created, right? So that's why in this type of the scenario, we usually prefer one container inside a pod. But in some situations comes where we require, that's the reason for sometimes only we keep multiple containers, because we know that inside a pod, if there is container is running, there will be one IP address that will be associated at the pod level that is going to be linked with your container. Okay, it is not like if there are 5 containers, all the containers are going to get separate IP address or something. And if you want to do some network communication where separate IP address is necessary for us, right? In that case, it doesn't make sense that to run all the containers on the different pod. What you can do is you can run one container in this pod, you can run another container in another pod, and there is no limit of number of pods. You can run as many number of pods you want to run. Okay, so that also you can just take care. So these all things will be clear when we start to run this. Okay, so our goal will be first to create a pod. Basically, creating a pod is just like creating a pod from the image. Okay, we'll be giving our image name, and from that image, we'll say that you have to create a pod. So in the internally, what they will do is they will download that image, they will create a container out of that, and once the container will be created, they will wrap that container inside a box. That box is known as the pod. Okay, so if you want to delete the container, you'll be deleting the pod only. If you want to stop the container, you will be stopping the pod only, right? If you want to terminate the container, you will be terminating the pod only. That means you will be controlling at the pod level, but since container is present inside the pod, so whatever the things you will do with the pod, exactly same thing will happen with the containers also. Okay. So this was the thing. Meanwhile, we'll see that Minikube is now running. You can verify also using the command called Minikube status. It will say that running configured. Now, if I want to see the dashboard of the Minikube, I said you that you have to write the command called dashboard, Minikube dashboard. And if I'll press enter, they are going to open a URL in your default browser, and this type of the page is going to happen. Okay. And this page is basically coming from the Minikube dashboard. Here we can see how many pods are running. Currently, see, they are saying there is nothing to display. Why? Because currently we did not created any pod. In the workload also, you'll see that nothing we created till now, right? That's why all these things are empty. As soon as I'm going to create a new pod, you'll be able to see it here. So let this page open. Okay, I am not touching that page, and even I am not touching this one. I will just open another command prompt, and I will write everything in this. Because if I type anything here, then this particular browser, whatever is open, this will stop working. Okay. So this is the thing. Now, how to communicate with the Kubernetes? So the first command is the kubectl. Okay, kubectl, you have to always type it, and you can simply say that kubectl, can you list me all the pods which is running currently? So they are saying currently there is no resource found. That means nothing I am able to find it that any pod or something is running related to that. Okay. Now if I want to start the pod, okay, if I want to start a pod. So if you remember, anybody remember the command how to start the Docker container? Do you remember the command what we were writing to start a Docker
Docker,
container? Yeah,
Docker
Docker.
hyphen IT.
No, before that we were writing something, right? Before writing -IT. IT was correct, but before IT we were writing something, right? Docker, and then we were writing some term, right?
Start.
Not a start, right? A start was once the container got created, then you can do start and stop, right?
Yeah.
First time we have to do Docker run, right? Docker run -IT we are mentioning, if you remember. Okay. Then we are
Yeah.
mentioning some name of the container like this, my OS1, right? Then we are mentioning the image name like CentOS 7 or whatever the image you want to use. So this type of the commands we are writing. Okay. So like this way only in the Kubernetes also commands are similar only. You will be writing something like this kubectl. Okay. Can you run a pod? Okay, then you have to write the pod name here. So you can just write kubectl. Can you run a pod with the name called my pod? Okay, and then you have to give the interactive terminal also, right? So you'll be writing -IT, and then you'll be mentioning hyphen image. Okay, and image I want to give it as CentOS 7. Okay, so this type of the things you have to write it here. So little bit difference only. Here we specified hyphen name tag. Here we can write the name directly like this. Okay, my pod actually. Okay, image we have to specify with the tag here hyphen image equal to center. If I'm going to run this command, what this command is going to do is they will try to create a pod. Okay, from this particular image. Okay, and then they will give us the interactive terminal to that. Okay, so as soon as I'm going to run this command, okay, so first they are taking some time. Why they are taking some time? Because currently CentOS 7 image is not downloaded here, right? So they will try to download that image, and it totally depends on my internet speed how fast they are downloading 200 MB image. Once that 200 MB image will be downloaded, then we'll be able to see the screen here. Meanwhile, you can see here in the back end, see a pod is getting created with the name called my pod with the image called CentOS 7. And currently it is in the container creating state. If I'll click on this my pod, see now it's become green color actually. Okay, wait. See, it's become green color. Green color meaning is actually it got started. And see, it's got started. We are seeing this screen. Whatever the things I want to do, I can just do it here. Okay. If I will exit from here, what will happen? This will stop and again it will be restarted, something like this. Kubectl get paused. So see, there is a restart happened because we exited from that container because we wanted to use interactive terminal for some time only. Okay. Then we exited, it got exit. And then again they restarted the container. Okay. So currently this container is running and they are saying if somebody want to go inside this container again, you can write like this command and you'll be able to go. Okay, like that way they are saying. So before that, let me just show you from here browser side. So see this pod is running and if I click here, they are clearly saying here what has happened is somebody asked me to create a pod. Okay. Then what I tried to do is I tried to pull the image CentOS 7. Okay. Once I pulled the CentOS 7 image, it took me around 23 seconds something to download that particular image. Then I created the container. They are not saying that I created a pod or something, right? They are saying we created a container image. CentOS 7 that is already present because now this got downloaded here, right? Once this is downloaded, they created a container with the name called mypod. Forget about the pod term. See what they done? They created a container. Once this container got created, okay, container got started, right? Then only this container or this whatever the things they created, right, with the container with the name called mypod, this got kept inside this particular pod. This is name called mypod. Okay, so actually you are created a pod with the name called mypod. Inside this pod, there is a container got created with the name called mypod. Currently pod name and container name both are same, but in the later training I will show you, you can change the container name also. It can be something like this also, that you created a pod with the name called my pod, and inside that container is running with the name called my container. That also you can do. But currently just think pod and container name here are same, but both are different terms. Okay. But currently this container is running inside. Okay. Now, if somebody want to get that black terminal here, right? Again, I want to go inside this pod. So you can go inside from here also. Just click on double pod. Click on execute. Execute means you are going inside this again. Okay. So execute. See, again, I went to that screen. Whatever the things I want to do, take an example. I want to create a directory with the name called kitchen, right? So again, I can do it. The kitchen directory got created here. Okay. Similarly, if you want to go it from the command prompt also, you can do. You can simply write qctl. Can you execute inside this? Give me an interactive terminal. Okay. Inside a pod name is my pod. Okay. And then mention hyphen space bash. Okay. Actually, pod we don't have to write it. We have to just write my pod only. Yes, we went inside this, right? So if this is the exactly same pod or we landed in the exactly same container, so here also we'll be able to see the kitchen directory, right? So either you can go from here also, whichever the way you are more comfortable, you can come to this pod, you can just click on this execute, you'll be able to go inside this, you'll do the ls, right? You are able to see the kitchen directory here. Or if you don't want to do like this, you can just exit it from here like this. You'll be just typing this command, qctl, I want to execute, okay? And I want to get an interactive terminal, okay? And then give me in the pod, what is the pod name? My pod, and give me the bash shell, hyphen space bash. If you write it, again you will be landed to the same page like this, okay? And here also the season directory. Like this way you can do it. Similarly, let's exit it from here and do kubectl get pods again. So you'll see that particular pod is still running. And until and unless this pod is running, everybody will be able to communicate. If somebody want to delete this pod, again the simple thing, kubectl, can you delete this pod and pod name is my pod. That's it. And see that particular pod got deleted. And since this pod is getting deleted, you will be see here also it is in the terminating state. So as soon as pod will be deleted, it will terminate from here and it will be removed from here. Okay. So whatever the things you are doing it from the command, actually that is getting displayed in the user interface in this side. You see, currently they are in the deleting state. Let it delete it. Okay. So now pod got deleted. Now, once the pod got deleted, again, if you want to create the pod, you can just again create a pod with some different images also. Okay, it is not like only one images you can create or something. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, the thing is, if the pod is getting deleted, why this pod is not going to come back, right? Because see, if you remember in the Docker class, I said you in the Docker, if some container is getting deleted or if some container is getting stopped, we have to manually manage, right? But in case of the Kubernetes, I said you, if some pod is going to be deleted or something, that pod is automatically going to come back, right? But see, this pod does not came back. I deleted the pod, but still pod is not came back. That pod got deleted. Even if I do kubectl get pods, so see, no pod is there. Our goal was as soon as somebody will delete this pod or this pod is going to be terminated due to some reason, automatically a new pod should come, right? But that is not happening currently. So before doing that, let's do one thing. I'm creating one more pod. So I will just write the command kubectl. I want to run a pod. Okay. I want to run a pod with the name called myweb. Okay. And I want to take the image. Which image I want to take? If you remember, we created one custom image for hosting the website, and that image name was this one. Roikisen 8 Web Server Cloud 27, right? So I'm just going to use this particular image, that image which we uploaded in the last classes. So just come here, doc Kubernetes. I want to run a pod. Pod name will be my web, and you have to do it from this image. Roikisen 8 Web Server Cloud 27, latest version. You can specify like this. Okay. press enter, it's the Kubernetes duty that they will create a pod. Okay, I don't want to get a interactive terminal or something. If you remember, in the Docker also, you don't require interactive terminal for something like this. Okay, and usually whatever the containers we create or something, we don't require any interactive terminal for that or something. Okay, because we run directly the application inside the container. So as soon as this container will be running, automatically the application that we are hosting inside this, that will be running, so we don't have to worry about. As soon as I will press enter, what they are saying, I created a pod with the name called myweb. If I'll do kubectl, is that pod got created? So they are saying currently your pod with the name called myweb is in the container creating state. Why in the container creating state? Because currently they are in the process of downloading the image, right? That particular image is not downloaded. They are in the process of pulling the image. Once this image will be downloaded, you'll see that automatically they are going to create a container. See, successfully pulled the image in 26 seconds, created the container, started the container. Both the things done, right? And since they done it, so now it's become green color. That means we are hosting a website now. Okay, we are hosting a website, and here from here you can verify also kubectl get pods. So website is running perfectly fine, right? Now, this particular website is running. So how to access this particular website, right? That can be the thing. Because in the Docker case, what we done was, if you remember, we done the port mapping, right? And when we done the port mapping, so whoever was coming to the public IP address of our AWS cloud, whoever was coming to the public IP address of the AWS cloud, okay, it was something like this. Okay, I deleted that. Okay, but if you remember, some public IP address was coming on that public IP address. If you're going to the port 8080 or 8081, that was transferring the traffic to the port 80 of the Docker container, right? So this type of the things we done, right? Because manually people cannot come to the private IP directly, right? So exactly same thing is happening here. Your pod is running, okay? Your pod is running, and that pod is having some IP address, right? This pod is having the IP address called 10.244.0.10, but I cannot reach to this particular IP address directly. Like if I try to copy this and I will try to paste this, it doesn't make sense. I'll be not able to reach to this particular IP address, right, from my personal computer. Why? Because this particular IP address is actually running inside the Docker container, inside this Docker container. Is this making sense to all of you? That whatever this IP address is coming, actually that is coming from this Minikube Docker container. Is this making sense? Yes or no? All of you. This particular IP address. See, the thing is, where is our pod is running? Whatever the pod I just created, the Kubernetes pod, that is running using the Minikube, right? And this Minikube is running inside this Docker container. So definitely that particular pod is running inside this Docker container. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I want to see that actually that container is created or not, because what I said you that if I will say to the Kubernetes that Kubernetes you have to create a pod from this image. So internally, it's the duty of the Kubernetes that they will create a container, right, from this particular image. And if they actually created it, then we'll be able to see it inside the Minikube machine, right? So to go inside the Minikube machine, you can just click on this. You can click on open in terminal. You'll be landed inside the Minikube machine, right? Here, if you try to do the command called docker ps, okay, so you know the command docker ps, it will show you the running container, right? And in this, there are so many containers are running, but my goal is there any container running with the Roy Kissanet Web Server Cloud 27? Yes, they are running. That means I said to the Kubernetes that you have to run a pod. They are running the pod only, but internally they are running a container ID, image, right? These all are the things what we were doing in the Docker classes. So now these all things are getting managed by the Kubernetes. We are not directly managing it. That's the first benefit. Okay. And if you remember, this was the command we written /usr/sbean/httpd -d foreground. So that particular command also they are running, they are telling us, right? So that's why this is running inside this. Let me clear this screen. So since this is running inside this, so that particular IP address 10.244.0.10, that you will be able to reach it from inside this 10.244.0.10. Press enter. And see your website is coming. Exactly same thing I done, right? Background color is orange. Welcome to Docker Web Server Cloud 27 and IP address they are printing. That means our web server that is running inside this particular pod is running perfectly fine. We are able to see the website on that IP address. Is that making sense? This was our website content, right? Okay. But my goal is this particular website, I should be able to see it from this browser level. Then again, we have to do something like public route mapping or something, right? That type of the things we have to do. Like previously we mapped to the public IP address, somebody will come to the port 8081, then transfer the traffic to this particular IP address on the port 80, right? And then the website will be visible. So that type of the things we want to do something. Okay, that is the first goal. Second goal, currently my website is running on this particular IP address 10.244.0.10, right? But if this pod is going to be deleted, right? Like my currently my all my customer is accessing the website on this, right? They are doing the call, they are able to see the website. But as soon as you are deleting this website, all my customer will be not able to see the website. That is also the problem, right? See, this is in terminating state. I deleted directly from here. And now if customer will try to hit this command again, no, wait, cull 10.244.0.14. So it is not going to work because that particular pod got deleted, right? That particular pod got deleted, so your website content is not going to come. And even if you'll do the docker ps, you'll be not able to see any container is running with the name called web server cloud 27 or something. Nothing is visible, right? That is gone. So again, we have to create a new Docker, new Kubernetes pod, then only that website is going to come back. Okay. So for solving this particular purpose, Kubernetes comes up with the idea of deployment. Okay. So just give me a second. Okay. So I was saying about the deployment. So they come up with the term called deployment. What they see is whenever you are deleting the pod, this pod is not going to come back, right? But if you want that as soon as this pod is getting deleted, automatically a new pod will be created or something, then hire a manager on top of this. Okay. And that manager duty will be like, take an example, there is a manager or there is a person, okay, to whom I said that you have to make sure at any point of the time there is one pod should be running. Okay, so they will make sure is that pod is running. If they will see that pod got deleted, they will start one new pod, and they will be keep monitoring 24 into 7. And that particular monitoring tool is going to be here is the deployment. So if I will say to the deployment, it's your duty that you have to create a pod from this particular image and make sure that at any point of the time one pod will be running. So it's the deployment duty that if any time pod is going to be deleted, they will create one more new pod. Okay, how to do this? Let me just show you. If I'll do currently get pods, no pod is running. Okay, but if you want to do so, you have to simply write kubectl, do one thing. Rather than creating the pod, let's create a deployment. I'm directly telling to the deployment that you have the duty to create the pod, right? Currently, my goal was to create a container, right? So rather than creating the container directly, what we were doing was we were creating the pod, and pod was creating the container. Okay. But the problem here is if the pod is getting deleted, container is also getting deleted, it is not coming back. Now, if I will tell to the deployment, it's your duty to create the pod. So deployment will create the pod and pod will create the container. So my final goal is to get the container only. But if deployment is managing it, that means if at any point of the time if pod will delete it, deployment will make sure that pod will come back. So our container will also come back. So kubectl create deployment, and deployment I want to create with the name called my deploy, something like this. Okay, and hyphen image. This deployment is going to create a pod from which image? Image will be this one, Roy Kisanet Web Server Cloud 27, right? I will just copy this and I will paste it, right? So this is the image they have to do. I will press enter and see they are saying I created a deployment with the name called my deploy. If I'll say that kubectl get deployment, either you can write deployment or you can write deploy also, both are same. So see they are saying one deployment is created. Now the duty is this deployment had to create a pod, right? So if I do get pod, a pod got created. Even from here you can verify I created a deployment, But this deployment created a pod also, and they created a replica set also. Okay. Now the benefit of this is if somebody is going to delete this pod, previously this pod was getting deleted, okay, automatically everything was getting deleted, right? But this time let's delete this pod. I'm deleting this pod, but see, as soon as I deleted this pod, one new pod came, right? 3 seconds ago, and see, new pod is running. That means at any point of the time, if this pod is getting deleted, we don't have to worry about. As soon as this pod will be deleted, a new pod will be created. Okay. Now the thing is how they are able to create a new pod as soon as this particular pod is getting deleted. So basically, whenever we created a deployment, they created a manager here called replica set. Okay. Now, if you've seen the replica set, it's the duty of the replica set to make sure one pod is running. Why? Because desired is one. Okay. And as soon as somebody is deleting this particular pod, okay. So in the replica set, it will be said that desired is one, pending is one. Why? Because currently your pod is not running. As soon as it will become running, they will make sure, okay, both are updated. So now they are not going to launch any pod. But as soon as this pod will be deleted, they will got to know that, okay, running pod is 0. That means we have to create one more pod. They will start another pod. Is this making sense, this entire cycle?
Yes.
Okay. We created a deployment. Deployment is creating the pod, okay, getting managed by the replica set. And that pod is creating a container inside this. Okay. Now the pod is creating. So this time the pod IP is this one, 10.244.0.14, right? So if I want to see the website that is running inside this particular pod, okay, so I can see it internally from here by writing the command, wait, clear it out, call 10.244.0.14, right? Wait, that's the problem here. Call 10.244.0.14. Okay, so yeah, website is visible currently, right? But you know, the problem here is as soon as this pod is getting deleted, right? As soon as this pod is going to be deleted, a new pod will come back, right? But whatever the IP address is associated to this new pod, okay, currently IP address is not got associated. As soon as this pod will be running, that IP address will come, right? The IP address got changed. Now the IP address is 10.244.0.15. But if my customer is still going to this website only 0.14, this does not make sense, right? This will not work because every time your new pod is coming back, IP address is getting changed. And if customer is going to 0.14, it will not work. Customer have to go with the new IP now, 10.244.0.1, right? So every time I am not going to keep updating my customers, see that in the midnight our pod got restarted, so the IP address got changed. So now you want to see the website, come to the new IP address, right? That doesn't make sense. So for that particular reason, Kubernetes have a concept of service. Okay, Kubernetes have a concept of service. They say rather than giving the IP address to them, you can give it some fixed IP address to your customer. That will be not changing. Even if your pod will be deleted, you don't have to worry about it. So let me show you something like this. So to do that, you have to simply say that Kubernetes currently pods is running fine, and this pod is getting running by the deployment. Now I want that whatever the website is running inside this pod, okay, that should be visible from the outer world people. So for that, you have to just write the command that kubectl, can you expose it for the outer world, right? Can you expose? Now the thing is whether I'm going to expose the pod or I will expose the deployment. Anybody, what do you think? If I want to make sure that website should be visible to the outer world, to which will be going? Will be going with the pod or will be going with the deployment?
Deployment.
Deployment, because we are not managing the pod manually, right? We are managing the deployment, right? And pod name will be keep changing, it will be keep deleting. So we have to always expose the deployment. So I'm saying that you have to expose the deployment. You can write deployment or you can write deploy. And what is the deployment name? My deploy. My deploy. So I'm saying that you have to expose the deployment with the name called my deploy. Now our website is running on which port? Anybody remember the port on which our website runs? On port 80, right? Remember in the Docker also we are running the website on the port 80. So I'm saying that you have to expose the deployment, and in that deployment there will be a website will be running on the port 80 that you have to expose it. using a service called type is equal to node port. Makes your N is capital and P is capital. Okay. If I will do this, then what is going to happen is Kubernetes is going to create one more resource in the service. Currently in the service, you are not seeing anything other than Kubernetes. But as soon as I will run this command, a service is created with the name called mydeploy. Okay, mydeploy with the name called node port. You can verify it from here also. kubectl get services. Either you can write get services or you can write kubectl get fbc. Both are same only. Okay, kubectl actually. So both are same only. Okay. Now in this say they are clearly saying a service is created with the name called mydeploy. Okay. And they are saying if somebody is going to come on the 32163 port, I will transfer your traffic to the port 80. Make sense? Right? They are saying it is something like this in the Docker also. If you remember, I said you that if somebody is going to come to the port 8081, I will transfer the traffic to the port 80. Remember? In the Docker we done that, right? So here also if somebody is coming to this particular port, they can reach to this website. Okay. So this is done also. So now if I'll say that minikube, there is a service. Okay, there is a service. Now see, we are not talking with the deployment. We are talking with the service minikube. Okay. So minikube, there is a service. Okay. And service name is mydeploy. Service name is mydeploy. Minikube service mydeploy. If I'll press enter, they're automatically open a browser. See, they're creating a proxy and see our website is this one. This is the website, right? And this website is currently showing which IP address? 10.244.0.15. And actually our pod is running with this IP only, 10.244.0.15. Now you know what is going to happen. Even if this pod is going to deleted, we don't have to worry about, okay, this pod got deleted, right? A new pod is going to come back. As soon as this pod will be running, a new IP address is associated. What is new IP address? 0.16. But I don't have to give my customer a new URL or something. My customer will just refresh the page and see, now they are seeing the website from 0.16. Right? So they will automatically connect it to the latest pod. We don't have to change the IP address or something. Now, how we are able to see this website? Actually, this is running inside the Docker. Okay. So whenever we say to the minikube that minikube, I want to go to this particular service, I want to access this 32163 port. So minikube says that this 32163 is running inside the Docker. So you cannot access it directly from your browser. So for that, I am just creating a tunnel for you. And if from your laptop, you are going to this URL 127.0.0.1, this is the local IP of my laptop on the port called 64365, then I will transfer your traffic to this particular URL 192.168.49.2.3216. Okay. And I will transfer the traffic to this particular port. And from here, your traffic is going to be transferred to this mydeploy service. Okay. And from this mydeploy service, what is happening is once your people are reaching to this service, right? Mydeploy, right? Once they reach to this mydeploy 32163, now what is going to happen is they will transfer that traffic to this particular pod having the IP address called 0.16. And that's why whenever you are refreshing the page, you are always seeing the website from 0.1. Okay, because they are transferring the traffic to this pod. As soon as this pod is going to be deleted, right? Automatically this service will get to know that a new pod is, see, currently this pod is not created. As soon as it will become running, they will get that URL 0.17. So now this service will redirect your traffic to this pod 0.17. Now you'll refresh this 0.17. Is this making sense, entire thing? Have you completed the Docker all of it practical, or still somebody is just stuck in the Docker only? Because the entire Kubernetes basically the advanced version of the Docker. So Docker, are you all comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just try to watch this recording one more time, okay, before coming to the next class, okay, and try to practice. Again, tomorrow I will repeat whatever the things till now I done, okay. Then I will continue the next part. But before that, coming to the next class, just try to watch this recording one time, okay, and try to do the practice, okay, and then come to the next class. Whatever the doubt is coming in your mind, just keep a note of that, and you can ask it to me. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay then. Thanks all of you. Have a nice day. And also to stop the mini cube, you don't have to worry about anything. Okay. Simply you have to come here, just do Control C here. Okay. And simply do mini cube stop. And tomorrow we'll start the mini cube automatically. All this deployment, everything will be automatically created. We don't have to worry about it. Okay. So just you have to do the mini cube stop. That's it. And whenever you will require to do the practical again, just start the mini cube. That's the only thing you do. So yeah, that's all. Thanks all of you.
Okay.